Alright, ladies and gentlemen, here on the channel, we're doing a news video. We're going to start with the National Football League. So let's get into the news. We have one story here from last night. The former Steelers offensive coordinator, Arthur Smith, he's finalizing a deal to be hired as the next coordinator at The Ohio State University, per source. Ohio State fans are probably sad as hell right now. Jeremiah Smith and that Arthur Smith offense is going to be freaking Ferrari. Gonna throw the ball to freaking tight end 45 times in week 1. And not throw it to his best receiver, Jeremiah Smith, and then Chris Henry Jr. But yeah, they're gonna hire Arthur Smith as their next offensive coordinator. Commanders run game coordinator Anthony Lynn interviewed Saturday night in Florida for the Browns head coaching job. Per league sources, his second head coach interview today, having met earlier Saturday with the Bills. Tom Telesco is working with the Browns as a consultant during their coaching search. As Telesco and Lynn worked together in Los Angeles, he also coached Cleveland's running backs 2007-2008. Let's run through here. The Browns are also scheduled to interview with Rams passing game coordinator Nate Shalacy on Monday in Los Angeles. Anthony Lynn completed an in-person interview with the Browns yesterday. So Bo Nix, who was out for today's who was out in the AFC Championship game today, obviously. The Packers, they are hiring former Cardinals head coach Jonathan Gannon as their defensive coordinator, per source. You know, they're going to go from Jeff Hafley to Jonathan Gannon. I just don't know how this is going to go out. I guess Jonathan Gannon it is. Like, I don't know much about him as a defensive coordinator, so I can't say if it's a great hire or not. Turn up through here. Scrolling up through here. Everything else. The Raiders are expected to meet this week with Broncos passing game coordinator / QB coach Davis Webb regarding their head coaching vacancy. The Bills completed an interview with Jaguars offensive coordinator Grant Udinski for their head coaching position. So you got an interview done with him. The Jaguars have hired Brian Pasucci from Tampa Bay as their run game coordinator. The Giants are hiring Darren Wilson as their defensive coordinator. He has a connection to John Harbaugh from Baltimore. Spent the last 2 seasons as the Titans DC. The Patriots, they made the Super Bowl. They're the AFC champions from 4 and 13 AFC champions. Bills offensive coordinator Joe Brady is in Las Vegas for a second head coaching interview with the Raiders, per source. So Joe Brady's interviewing for the Raiders. And I believe that's at least all the news. There's a few head coaching interviews. Patriots, they won the AFC Championship, going to the Super Bowl. We talked about Bo Nix is going to be out. Expected to be sidelined 12 weeks after undergoing surgery. We talked about Anthony Lynn and Arthur Smith. Let's see what we get from JPA Football. So the Giants, they're hiring Chris Horton as their assistant head coach / special teams coordinator, per Tom Blister. He spent the last 11 seasons on Harbaugh's staff in Baltimore. So they hired him. Just scrolling through here. The Titans, they plan to interview former Commanders offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury for their vacancy at offensive coordinator. Former Panthers and Colts head coach Frank Wright as a name to watch for the Jets as they seek a play card to add to their offensive staff, per Connor J. Hughes. Former Bills head coach Sean McDermott could take a year off from coaching and re-enter the cycle next season, per Rap Sheet. The Seahawks are reportedly putting on a, quote, full-court press to keep offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak in Seattle. Rams QB Matthew Stafford is expected to keep playing football in 2026, according to Rap Sheet. Per Tony Pollard, Alex Anzalone, free agent linebacker, is expected to reunite with Aaron Glenn and join the Jets in the offseason. That would be a horrible move for him to go to the Jets. Talked about Udinski. We talked about Davis Webb. The Cowboys reportedly, the Eagles requested to interview Cowboys offensive coordinator Clayton Adams for the offensive coordinator job, but they blocked that request. Rams defensive coordinator Chris Scholler remains in the mix for the Raiders' vacancy at head coach. Many people in the league circles view Clint Kubiak as a prime candidate for the Raiders' head coaching job, but the Seahawks are trying to keep him. There's one quote, hot head coaching candidate in the conference championship who, end quote, who's at least been heard contemplating potentially returning to his team, per Josiah Anderson. Rams offensive coordinator Mike LaFleur is believed to be the lead candidate for the Cardinals head coaching job. The overall consensus has Spencer Fano of Utah and Francis Mayoga of Miami as the top offensive tackles of the draft, and then a big drop-off at the position. The Chargers are expected to cut Mekhi Becton this offseason. I believe that is all from JPA Football here. One thing from Rappaport, the Dolphins' offensive staff is coming together, and sources say they've hired Titans receivers coach Tyke Tolbert as their new receivers coach. He joins Bobby Slowick on his offensive staff. The Titans are interviewing Texans defensive backs coach Dino Vasso for their vacant defensive coordinator job. We already talked about Arthur Smith. But I believe that's probably all for the NFL. Let's move on. NBA, some things from Shams Charania. Some games got postponed today. The Nuggets and Grizzlies game in Memphis was postponed due to the weather conditions, and Mavericks Bucks was postponed due to the weather conditions, not allowing Dallas to fly. So 2 NBA games got postponed today, due to that the poor weather conditions. The Sixers, they signed Charles Bassey to a 10-day contract. Those are some things there from Shams. Let's move on. We'll see what we have from NBA Central. There's nothing else from NBA Central, just 3 things there from Shams Charania. Let's move on to baseball. So the Mets, they agreed to terms of free agent right-hander Craig Kimbrell on a minor league contracts. I'm surprised Craig Kimbrell's still in the league, honestly. That's all I have to say about that. The Tigers are among the, quote, many teams exploring interest in free agent starter Lucas Giolito, so teams are still exploring interest in him. Padres, they signed Samad Taylor to a minor league contract. See if we have anything else from Jeff Passion. If not, we'll move on. No, let's move on. Alright, so let's move on to wrestling. That was all for baseball. Just a few things there. So, wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling has announced that Evil will be leaving the company. He's probably headed to WWE. Like I talked about the other day. Not sure a single person will care about it, but it's leaving New Japan, probably going to WWE. So, Linkin Park, Heavy is the Crown by Linkin Park is the official theme song for the 2026 Royal Rumble. Shinsuke Nakamura shared that AJ Styles told him he will be retiring at the 2026 Royal Rumble. And I'm sure maybe it'll probably be a work. People probably think, oh, it'll be a work. I don't know, man. Sami Zayn won the Fatal 4-Way to get a championship match against Drew McIntyre at the Royal Rumble next week. That's all. There's nothing for NASCAR, so it's just a little bit of news here on a Sunday. So leave a like and subscribe for more. Peace.